Welcome into the In the Money podcast for the first Saturday in December. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman. We're taking a look at the late pick 4 up at Aqueduct, which includes a couple of graded stakes. They actually have, I think, 4 graded stakes on the card, but only 2 of them are in the late pick 4. And the first one that we want to take a look at, Jim, is for 2-year-olds. It's the Grade 2 Remsen, and they go 1 mile and 1/8, which is always an interesting twist in this race. And where did you land in the Remsen?
Yeah, when you're handicapping this race, these horses haven't even come close to going 1 mile and 1/8. A couple of them gone a mile, and the Remsen's always this way. It's like, okay, what 2-year-old is ready to go 1 mile and 1/8 at the end of November? I narrowed it down to the 2 horses that are obvious here. If you look at the buyer speed figures, it's got to be a 2-horse race between Network Effect and Maximus Mischief. And I went with Maximus Mischief because of the flow of the race. The horse has plenty of early speed. I think there's only one other horse in here, Gladiator King, possibly, that could run with him in the beginning. You don't know how he'll react stretching out from 7 furlongs to 1 mile and 1/8. Will he be able to carry that speed 1 mile and 1/8? Who knows? And I'm sure that Robert Reed doesn't know either. Chad Brown probably does know that Network Effect can carry 1 mile and 1/8. He's gone 7 furlongs with on his first race and going up to 1 mile in the Nashua. So those two, I could flip a coin between them. I think Maximus Mischief has a chance to get a really easy lead, so I would go with him. From a standpoint of betting, I would like to think Network Effect has a good shot. I've got him in the future book at 53-1, I think, so for Derby. So it'd be nice for him to get a few points so he at least gets a chance to get in there. He looked good in the Nashville, just got beat by a length of 3/4, and he may look better on the stretch out. But 5 and 6 here when we get to the pick 4, I couldn't see anything else challenging him. Bourbon War is a second time out. They tried to get him on the turf first time, and they took it off the turf. He won by 2 1/4. That's the one that I have no idea how good a race that was. But Network Effect and Maximus Mischief are my picks here.
And I'm on the same page as you are. I just took Network Effect over Maximus Mischief for my win pick in the race. I like the pedigree for stretching out. I like the big buyer improvement in the second start, but it's essentially a toss-up, and I'll just use those 2 when we get to the pick 4. So nothing that really significant I can add to your analysis there. Let me go to the 9th race, the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. And I didn't think this race came up nearly as tough as it has in the past. So I ended up going to Coppertown in here. Not wild about the 5-2 price on a horse coming out of an allowance race into a Grade 1, but I've seen Pletcher make this kind of bold move before. Looks like this horse just was prepped for this spot with a nice, easy allowance win at Keeneland, and he got a 101 buyer off a long layoff. And if he improves much on that, which would be reasonable to expect that he could, then I think he might be better than the rest of these in here that have a huge experience advantage on him. So, if the price gets too low on Coppertown, you may just want to stay away from it. But that is the horse I ended up picking to win. Otherwise, I'm going to go 5 deep in the pick 4. Pattern Recognition, the 8. Sunny Ridge, the 2. True Timber, I thought was an interesting price play. The 6 on his best day could be in there. And then I'm going to throw in Mendelssohn. Not wild about him breaking from the rail, but he's raced in such classy company that I'd hate to get beat by that one. So I'm going to use all 5 of those. Coppertown's my win pick in the Cigar Mile. How about you?
I cut that down a little bit. I'm not going to use Mendelssohn. He's just, if he beats me, he beats me. Still think he's one of the most overrated horses I've seen in a long time. And I think the rail hurts him. I think the flow of the race hurts him. I think Pattern Recognition is going to go for the lead from the outside. Is probably going to get there at least as easy as Mendelssohn is from the rail. So I think those 2 are going to gun it from the start, and they're going to set it up for somebody coming from behind. I think Pattern Recognition is good enough to hold on. I don't think Mendelssohn is. I'm going to use Coppertown as a backup as well. I really like the horse that off a year-long layoff at Keeneland. He looked really good that day. I mean, he broke a little slow, got bumped to start, and won by 5, and just a paid workout, basically. If he takes a step forward to get to where he was last year at Belmont, and that 106 buyer is going to be tough to handle. I'm also going to use the 7 Timeline for Chad Brown, simply because it's Chad Brown and Johnny Velasquez. And Sunny Ridge, the 2, at possibly a little bit of a price. Jason Service Horse ran behind pattern recognition last time out, and if there is more speed up front, it sets up well for him. So I like a couple horses coming from off the pace, so I'm going to use 5, 7, 8 when we get to pick 4.
Let's go back to the 7th race. Tell me what your pick 4 ticket looks like. It's a turf allowance on the front end and a state bred allowance on the back end.
Yeah, and this turf allowance on the front end, I really couldn't make heads or tails of it, so I went as much as six or 7 deep. The one caveat is if 14 Dr. Shane draws in, I would not use that many horses because I think that he's the best looking horse in the race, but he's got to get a little help to draw in. So if he gets in, I'm going to use 14 as not a single, but with only a couple more of these horses. But I'm also going to use if I need to go deep, the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. The entry looks like both those halves have a shot. Hopefully it does stay on the turf, and War Stroll certainly looks good. First off the claim for Gary Contessa. And then going deep with the rest of them, Toughest Hombre, Almathar for Kieran McLaughlin. I always use his horses. And then the others that I've mentioned. The 5 and the 6 in the 8th race, the 2 horses that we talked about, Network Effect and Maximus Mischief. I'm only going to go 3 deep in the Cigar Mile with the 5, 7, 8 that we talked about in there. I'm sorry, the numbers are wrong. I was going to use Sunny Ridge, the 2, 2, 7, 8. Sunny Ridge is the 2. Timeline is the 7. Coppertown is the 5, and Pattern Recognition is the 8. So it's 2, 5, 7, 8, 4 deep in there. And then 3 deep in the last leg. 7, 10, 11 are my picks. I don't have a real strong opinion here, but I didn't like very many horses here. Expediter would probably be my pick for Michelle Nevin, the 7 horse. But I'm also going to use Smoking Platinum, the 10, and the 11 Quest for Fire for Charlton Baker. One of them freaked in March at Aqueduct, the 11 horse, and then the other one is in good form now. So one of those 2 has a shot for Baker. So I'm going to use 7, 10, 11. So my pick 4, if I go 7 deep in the first leg, it gets pretty expensive, $84. So I go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 14 with 5, 6, with 2, 5, 7, 8, with 7, 10, 11.
All right, I'm going to go in the first leg 3 deep. Fear, who is an 11-time winner in the last race, was a bit of a wake-up off a layoff. So I like that one, a little bit of a price. Brad Cox has got Adonis Creed in there, which looks pretty good to me, and Tusk is the other one. So 5, 6, 10. 5, 6 in the next race that we talked about, the Remsen. I'm going to use 1, 2, 5, 6, 8 in the Cigar Mile. Coppertown's the win pick, but didn't have a strong opinion in this field. And then I used 5 in the last leg, the 4, 5, 6, 10, 11. My win pick was Smoking Platinum. I like the 2 good runs off the layoff and a little bit of a wide trip last time. I thought Wrong Bend, the 5, had a shot here to maybe at a little bit of a price. So I want to go a little deeper here and try to catch a price. 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 in the last leg for me. Now, I will say if that first race does come off the turf, then I'd use 14 I like a lot, and then 3, 13, 14, 15. And then if that is getting too expensive for you, using 4 in the first leg, you could leave out Mendelssohn out of the Cigar Mile and trim it down a little bit. So I'm going to go 5, 6, 10 with 5, 6 with 1, 2, 5, 6, 8 with 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 for my late pick 4. It's a nice card at Aqueduct. You have some good racing this weekend. Gulfstream Parks Championship meet opens. You got the Hollywood Derby out on the West Coast. So some good opportunities. Make sure you keep your Keeneland Select account fully funded here on the In the Money podcast.